My name is Michael Beckett. I'm going to discuss with you disturbing topic, child sexual abuse. And there's been a scandal at Scarborough Borough Council about a former leader who has died. I don't want any more suffering upon that person's family, but I do want to discuss this with you because it's an issue that needs to be resolved still. Revelations came forward in 2014 and were dealt with, as far as the council are concerned, by the removal of the mayor's name from a list of mayors and aldermen, and they've expressed concerns and regrets for the behaviour of the former mayor.
North Yorkshire Police have actually admitted that they missed two opportunities during the 40 years.
Well, another question I thought would be, if the police have said sorry, why haven't the council said sorry?
They should have done, but there's two organisations that should have publicly apologised to the victims. One's the Borough Council and one's the Scarborough and Whitby Conservative Association.
Why do you feel so strongly about child sexual abuse then?
Because it's fundamentally wrong. It robs young people of their youth.
Having someone in a position of trust that abuses children is something to apologise for, I would have thought.
I tend to agree with you.
I'd like to talk about a particularly heavy subject, really, child sexual abuse. It's just an issue that's close to my heart, having been a survivor. I'm really passionate about trying to help people get a better deal and for people to be protected so they don't experience that themselves. You've been a campaigner who's been opening stories up and getting more attention.
It leaves me speechless, and it leaves me close to tears, Mike, because it is the most appalling thing that you can imagine, that the very people that we are called upon to trust and called upon to turn to are saying, oh, it's nothing to do with us. Get on with your life. These people are pillars of society. Don't open a can of worms. Hey.
The council says in the letter which came to me is that they're very much focused on the now because they think that this is a closed issue. The reason it's a closed issue was because last year, 2014, they stripped him of his honours. Now, I'm like, well, I'm not averse to them stripping honours from someone who was clearly not living up to the public virtues and the Nolan principles that we expect from someone who is a leader and representing people. But I just think if he's representing the council or he's representing the local Conservatives or any other party, that they should apologise. Certainly people have challenged me and said, oh, am I a hypocrite? You know, what about people from your own party who have done things like that? And I've said, well, I'm very sorry that they did that. They didn't live up to the values of my party. They certainly don't live up to my personal ethics, and I apologise for their falling short, because they clearly have if they've done that.
I think that we have to remember that there is a cultural change in the same way that there is about issues of racial language and stuff like that. We're in a different era now. I'm talking about over 50 years ago, half a century. Nevertheless, that doesn't mean that the mores of that day are as acceptable as the mores of today. And I think that we should be older and wiser now and recognise that children do need protection.
When I talked to people who were survivors who came forward, they said they wanted an apology because, you know, in terms of Jaconelli, he was the mayor, the leader of the Conservatives on the council, and he was an alderman. He represented the council. He was the council's figurehead.
I think the word apology conceals a much wider concept for me, and it's this. It is that when people undergo traumatic experiences that affect them over a long period of time, there is an element of the integrity of their character is insulted by the fact that they've been confronted by disbelief.
Yes.
And a lot of the people I've talked to have said that, in a way, they know that the best they're ever going to get is an apology, but it doesn't really have full healing powers. Just of somebody saying, we believe you, you were right, we were wrong. And when you're wrong, you have to say, I'm sorry.
Yes, you do.
Don't you? That's really
You
so
really
simple.
do. It is. If these are public servants, then they should be serving the public. And if they're serving the public, it's not about retaliation, it's about how can we help you. You know, I've got a petition asking for people to asking for the council to apologise, because I think they should, and the Conservative Association too. Because if they won't apologise for child abuse, what will they apologise for? And for me, this is fundamental. It's a common decency, which is, I think, the title you gave of the, well, not you, but
It was a letter,
yes, dealing with this. And I just think the most important thing we can possibly do is protect our children and make sure that the problems that have happened to children in the past don't happen to children in the future.
And delivering the letter.
The council have refused to apologise. They've said regrets and concerns, but they haven't apologised. And so I'm calling on the public to petition the council with me and to vote in order to hold them to account. These are our public officials, and if they're not saying sorry for child abuse, what will they say sorry for?